This movie pissed me off, okay? I was vibing with it. I was good. And then it got dumb. Hurry Up Tomorrow, directed by Trey Edward Schultz, stars Abel Tesfaye, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, aka The Weeknd, Jenna Ortega, and Barry Keoghan. So, okay. The Weeknd is basically playing himself. He's sad, depressed, using stuff, and going through a really bad breakup. And ends up meeting this girl, and they have a great evening. They connect, it seems, and then she just goes crazy. That's it. That's the whole movie. I mean, I know it sounds like it has a plot, but it really doesn't. There is no plot. It's just there is no narrative structure. There is no line. There is no, rising and falling action. It's just a bunch of moving images. Now, I said I was vibing with it at first, and I was, because there's an art house quality to it. The music production is great. The cinematography is gorgeous. Camera work is impeccable. It looks visually beautiful, and that's where I'm a little confused as to what this movie is, because there's a heavy emphasis on the visuals. There's no emphasis on the plot, none whatsoever. There is no story. It's, again, a bunch of just moving images, and that's the part that's really irritating me, because we have all these moving images, but we have no plot. So I don't know what this is. What is the genre? If I could understand what the genre is, I can go from there. Is this a visual album? Is this a companion piece to the album that he's releasing? And if so, again, what genre? Is this supposed to be a psychological thriller? Is this just a regular drama? What are we doing here? Because if I know what the genre is, I know what the boundaries are. And the thing is, when you have a genre and you put a movie in that genre, you can move within those boundaries and you can even push them. But there's nothing to push. What this movie felt like to me was someone waving their arms in the dark, hoping they hit something. And there's no emotion. The movie is a void. Not even a void in the sense of clinical depression, that you can recognize. But this is just void of any kind of emotion, void of emptiness, if you will, which is crazy because, he's crying dang near the whole movie. Everybody's crying except Barry Keoghan, who's just trying to live his best life, bless his little heart. I need to understand why Jenna Ortega said yes to this, because she's a standout here. Her performance is worth talking about. Her performance makes this worth watching. And then you have Barry Keoghan, who I feel like we didn't get enough time with. The little bit of screen time they have together, I wish there was more. It was very tense. That was the only tension in the movie, was that moment between those two. And it wasn't even big tension. The director really didn't know what to do with the lack of emotion in this movie. But I really wish we'd had more interaction between those two, because even with the kind of emotional lack of depth here, you have two actors that know how to work within those bounds. She's fantastic. She's a star. She is a star. She is the star of this. Yeah, he's the star of the movie. Yeah, it's his movie. It's his story. It's his vehicle. But she ran circles around him. So I'm vibing with it, right? Yeah, no story, no real plot, just a bunch of moving images, but it's beautiful to look at, art housey, avant-garde, again, a little ethereal. There's, hints of expressionism in here. And I'm okay, maybe I do like this. And then we get to that last quarter where it's we abandon the beautiful moving images, and instead we're just riding the waves of his ego. And when I say his, I don't mean the character, I mean the actor. It really just felt like we were just witnessing an ego trip. I think this movie is probably just, big fan service. If you're a fan of The Weeknd, you might get it and you might appreciate it that much more. But what about those of us who are, vaguely familiar with The Weeknd? I know a couple of his songs here and there. He's an Academy Award nominated songwriter. Proud of him for that. One of my favorite Oscar performances, by the way. But for those of us who are kind of in the dark, what are we supposed to get out of this? How are we supposed to enjoy this? What's the point of releasing this in theaters if you're only making this for your fans? You could have just put it on YouTube. Might be the worst movie I've seen this year, because that just pissed me off. The movie feels like one big answer. I just don't know what the question is.